Hidden in Belchertown, Massachusetts, behind aging buildings and overgrown grounds, stands the former Belchertown State School. Opened in the early 1900s as an institution for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, it eventually became known not for care, but for overcrowding, neglect, and heartbreaking abuse. By the 1970s, investigations exposed shocking conditions, helping to spark major reforms in the treatment of people with disabilities across the country. Today, many of the original buildings are gone, abandoned, but the stories remain. So as we explore what's left behind, remember that the true history here is more unsettling than any ghost story. This is actually the old farm for the state school. They used to grow their own produce. And you see back there's an old farmhouse. Just put it on the GPS. It's an old silo over there. Looks like they still use it. Pretty interesting. Just went around this little roundabout here. And I'm on the opposite side where I want to be. But I do see some of the old buildings from here. I'm gonna go back behind those trees. Obviously, I'm not gonna walk through here, but there's two buildings still not torn down yet. Stay over here, over here. It's pretty interesting. Mother Nature's taking its course. They're all boarded up. I don't know what type of buildings these are. Hey, over here. It's quiet over here. That's why I parked over here. This is all new, it seems like. Looks like some vandals could probably climb up in there. Some trees growing from the roof. And this is just part of it. Let's go see around the front. I already feel the eeriness of this property. Let's see what these say over here. Oh, there's another building there. Oh, so they still have quite a few buildings still here. Realize a lot of the property is turned into newer buildings. This is just electrical and fiber optics. And there's a sign over there that I want to check out. All this property was the old state school. Over here. Over here, out of the road there. Come on. There he is. There he is. There's the boy. Come on, pup. Let's go see the front. So it's part of the EDA, Department of Commerce, Economic Development, Belchertown Industrial Corporation. So they must have bought it and they're putting some money into it. Oh wow, there's a lot A lot of buildings over here.
Next stop sign, turn left.
So some of the buildings they made in, that's a daycare. This looks like housing. There's one of the original buildings there. Another one there. One, two. This one's all boarded up. I gotta keep Gus on the leash for right now. I know a few of them are administrative buildings. We're just gonna go check these out first. Old staircase. Look at those vines just growing up in there. Interesting. Sure, a lot of people in the past have gone down in there. Old satellite up there, or old antenna. Oh, this is interesting. Look at that old chair. It's like a front or back entry. Wanted to check this window out here. It looks like some people did some damage. Oh, wow. That's not very nice. Just completely rotting up. You can just feel the energy from this place, the history. 1922 it was built, closed in 1992, 22 to 92. I don't want to bring my dog. There's a bunch of glass over here. I don't want to cut his feet. Well, if you guys are new, my name is Kyle. Thanks for clicking on the video. This is my dog, Gus. Today we are exploring the old state school in Belchertown. And I've been wanting to do this one for a few months now. I've been doing some research. There's a lot of history. And I think it's important to remember the people, the young ones, the young children and adults that were mistreated here, and give them a fair share and spread the word that they weren't treated well. They were mistreated. They were misdiagnosed. Back then, you know, it was a lot different. Healthcare was different. It opened in 22, and eventually by the 60s, 50s and 60s, it was overcrowded and people got sick. And it was so overcrowded that they couldn't take care of all the kids and young adults. Just got to be careful with the glass.
see inside there. Looks like there's a bowl on the ground there. I can imagine that this is pretty creepy at night. There's an old bench up there. What a place. I'm getting the chills. That door seems like it's in fairly decent shape. He seems like he doesn't want to go down in there. Looks like they have a business here. This building seems like they got a small business. Maybe on the second floor, embroidery. There's a Belchertown community television. Looks like they have Great Threads custom contract embroidery here in this building. There's a lot more buildings than I thought there were going to be. I know they demolished quite a few. And this is very interesting. This just looks like an old playground or school area. Old swing sets. Wow. Screened in hallway. Looks like an old cart. It's like old loading dock. That'd be the old bell to ring in. Creepy. Look at that. Old paintbrush. Big bird's nest. Down in the basement.
Now, the young ones that did stay here for years at a time, they were mistreated. They were abused. Nutrition was absolutely almost obsolete. The funds of the school were going downhill. And kids were really starving. They were getting abused. Some say that they were handcuffed. Not sure if that's quite true. And physically abused. There's a little area over here. Not sure what it used to be. Maybe another building that was not construction zone, so it must have been another building over here. We're gonna go check this out. He's spinning me around. So it got so crowded 1992, after years and years of people fighting hard for these young children and adults, finally reforms came into action and shut the school down.
Lake Wallace Sensory Trail. Interesting. I'll have to check that out. Old benches. Can't see. Not sure what this used to be. Like a little gazebo or something. Maybe like a little break area. Like stairs are missing. School. So some of these buildings, like I said, they do have some businesses. That's a veteran service building. Senior center over here. The police department is over in that way. Those buildings were pretty interesting. This painting is pretty cool. This kind of shows a little bit about what used to be going on here, right? The kids and the farm. Come on, Gus. I'm curious about this fence here. I don't know if paint would last that long since it closed down, but I wonder if some of the kids or young adults painted this. I'm thinking maybe it could have been a little garden area, to be honest. Look at this. Yeah, could have been a little garden area. Oh, we just came into the car for a minute to cool off, get him some water. We're gonna go down to those other buildings real quick. The ones at the beginning of the video where I could only get a side view, and just check those out. Come on, pup. So it looks like we saw the school, a couple administrative buildings. This is building 35, which is all boarded up. All the windows are broken. We'll go around this one and see. The other ones that we saw earlier look like they're pretty far over to the other side. This was a really big campus. Okay, this looks like one of the main buildings. "35A". I wonder if this is... There's the buildings that we saw earlier in the video when we pulled up. I really don't know how to get there. So yeah, they did pretty much everything here on this campus. I showed you the farm. They used to grow all their vegetables. And, oh, it looks like a path over here. Uh-oh, this is looking promising. Oh boy. Should we? Now there is rumors also that there's tunnels that go from building to building, and there's no truth really in writing that they transported residents to and from. Oh, I don't know about this. It was more so for like utilities and the steam pipes and all that run underground to make it easier to go from building to building. But some would say that they were to transfer the residents from building to building, which we'll never know. Okay, we're on the old road. Okay, that's that roundabout we were at earlier. We're a little bit closer. Oh, wow. Oh, I just got the chills. Asbestos. Yep. Tunnel blocked, no exit. Yeah, there's definitely chemicals inside the building. We'd never go inside the building. Wow, it is eerie over here. Whoa, look at that nest. These trees have seen a lot of things.
Wow, there's another one. It just keeps going. This is interesting. I have chills. This is just stunning, man. Sorry for all the hurt and suffering that went on here. Well, if we can make it back out to there, be a little bit easier of a walk to get back, but you know, I heard it would take about 200 years if we just let everything grow. And now, you're gonna get a tick in there, mister. Mother Nature would take over everything. I mean, look at this. This is way out here too. Just imagine that this was just full of young kids and adults with learning disabilities, or so they say. Some coming in here really, really early in age because they thought they might have a disability. Oh, this one's wide open here. This is the end of the road. I find these places very interesting. I feel like the world needs to know about places like this. The hurt, the anger, the mistreatment of these young people. Never had a chance, you know? And I'm drawn to these places. I love to explore abandoned places and just to learn a little bit about the history. And do my best to comprehend and share with you guys what went on here. And as simple as it sounds, there was a lot of mistreatment, abuse, neglect, and death. And there's a cemetery on the other side of State Street here. And there's a very important person that is buried there that was once a resident here. And he's rested side by side with his wife. We have that massive boulder over there behind that bush. Attaboy. It's gonna be a tick check tonight there, Bubba.
This is Warner Pine Grove Memorial, named after Albert Warner, who was a resident over at the state school for many years. And he wanted to make sure that all of his friends were taken care of. You can't go down it now. It seems like it says no trespassing. But it used to be just a general burial ground with just numbers. And Albert Warner really wanted to make sure that this cemetery was up to date with everybody's name. And he did so with this beautiful memorial. Took most of his life and took care of the cemetery. Served as the burial place for those who lived at the Belchertown State School. It reflects the changing attitude towards people with disabilities during this century. Just as the cemetery lay hidden, so too were individuals with mental retardation. As time passed, the cemetery, like the institution, fell into disrepair. Slowly, reform came, and with this, new thinking. Those once confined took their rightful places as citizens in our communities. This cemetery, however, remained a forgotten place. But Albert Warner never forgot. A former resident, he and his wife Agnes dreamed of a dignified resting place for their friends. Through their efforts, this cemetery is now a respectful place. May those interred here find eternal rest. May 1998. Albert did a great job. Albert lays to rest with his wife Agnes here in the cemetery. (1925 to 1998). What a place. I was really hoping that we could see the grave sites, but maybe there's another way to get in there. But I'm gonna be respectful and just astonished. What a place. All right, what are we gonna do? I'm glad you guys came along the ride. I think this was an important one that I've been wanting to do for a while. Gus is all pooped out in the back. If you're new, please check out the channel. Subscribe if you like outdoor content, random adventures, exploring, and try to do a video every week. I appreciate everybody that's stuck around, and all the new folks, welcome aboard. We officially hit 500 subscribers. That means a lot. That was a goal of mine. And this is a perfect video for the 500 mark. So thank you. And we will see you guys soon on the next video.